Hello, you're very welcome to episode 10 of the My Generation Gap podcast, where you have me, Stuart Moorw, a 50-year-old Generation Xer, talking media, art and culture with my 18-year-old niece, Harriet Piliington, who is a member of Generation Z.
Gen Z.
Gen Z. How are you doing, H?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I've not been up to majorly much this week. We went on a holiday up to near Scotland, which was nice, but it was a fairly quiet time, so not much to report really. It was nice. It was cold though. You know when it's sunny and it's deceiving and you step outside and you're freezing?
Well, I think that happens the closer you get to Scotland, the colder it gets.
Yeah.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
Well, it was sunny where I was because I was in a place called Machynlleth.
Machynlleth?
Yeah, which is a little town in the middle of Wales, which is only a really small town, but every year they have a huge comedy festival. I managed to see, quite a few shows actually, some really good stuff.
That's good.
I saw Ian Smith and John Shuttleworth. Well, I saw Stuart Lee last week.
Right, yeah.
As well.
So was it over the weekend then?
Yeah, over the whole
like
weekend.
A weekend event.
Sean Morley, he was good. But the highlight, and I urge anybody to go and see, or everybody to go and see, Frankie Monroe.
Frankie Monroe.
Frankie
is his
Monroe.
Character? What he plays a character, doesn't he?
Well, Frankie Monroe is a character, yeah.
Yeah, he is a character, yeah.
Frankie Monroe is the character, and the comedian is Joe Kent Walters.
Right.
So he's very, very good. In fact, I sat at the front and he sang a song about me called Stew Facts.
Stew Facts.
Stew Facts, yeah. Very good.
That's great.
So that was good. Oh, and I went to another big gig as well.
Another big gig?
Yeah, which was, it was good, and the tickets were expensive, and it was 21 Pilots.
21 Pilots, that's Ivan's favourite, isn't it?
Yeah, but only 2 of them turned up. So we paid a lot for the tickets, and the other 19 didn't even show.
That's a good one. That's you need to add that in your routine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's been better than your previous features.
Better than the jokes I've been working on.
Pilots.
All right, well, I might do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's been my week. It's been quite a busy week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't been busy, but you know when you've been busy but you're not been busy, like shopping and stuff like that, and generally going about booking appointments, things like that. You're busy but you're not busy.
Yeah, just catch up with stuff.
Yeah, I go shopping with Grandma quite a lot, which is your mum. And
oh yes, dear listener, Harriet is my niece, so Harriet's grandma is my mum, and Harriet's mum is my sister.
I go shopping with Grandma quite a lot because, well, it's beneficial for us both. I get to taxi her everywhere, and she funds my spending habits. No, I'm joking. You know, we do go shopping together. We went to Asda, just a normal shop, and Grandma bulk buys.
Oh,
she bought 24 frozen meals yesterday from the freezer shop. Shout out to the freezer shop in Mexborough because they're selling off meals.
Do you know what's really bad is growing up with that? It's rubbed off on me. And if you go out into our shed now, it's like we're prepping for the end of the world. It's full of tins and water.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be great if COVID hits again because you'll just have everything in the house.
Oh, yeah. Well, the first time COVID did it, we were really lucky because we actually had loads of toilet rolls in the house.
Did you?
Yeah, purely by accident, only because I was going to attempt a world record for the number of toilet.
So you had all the toilet rolls?
Yeah, I bought a load of toilet rolls for a world record attempt for the number of toilet rolls balanced on your head.
That's great. Well,
so we had dozens of them in the house.
Grandma and Grandad have both got reputations for they're not hoarders. They just bulk buy certain things. Like they once had our fridge because we were moving house, so they had an extra fridge in our house, and they filled the fridge with I think it was something like 18 things of butter. 18 tubs of butter. When my granddad passed, there was 14 bottles of distilled vinegar in the garage. What are you going to do with 14 bottles of distilled vinegar? We're still going through it. So yeah, anyway, we went shopping with Grandma, and Grandma buys sweeteners. Now, Grandma hunts down the cheapest place to get the sweeteners because you've got to go for the bargains, haven't you? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but how expensive are sweeteners anyway? I mean, the difference between really cheap sweeteners and really expensive sweeteners can't be more than like £1.
It is about £1, but when you are buying 14 of them to
Hmm.
bulk buy,
It costs,
a
it
pound,
costs.
and you're looking at like 15 quid. So anyway, that's by the by. So Grandma bought all these sweeteners. She's putting them all through the till, and she gets to the last. I think there was something like 14. She gets to the last one. She got other things in her bagging area.
I mean,
The
the thing you have to remember about Grandma is she's nearly 80. I mean,
She's got
14.
you fooled.
I mean, how many sweeteners are in one pack of sweeteners?
Yeah,
I mean,
about 700.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but to be fair, then I go to her house and use all her sweeteners, so I've got to support this habit. So she put all the sweeteners through, and she got to a last one. I'm not paying attention because I'm on a separate till putting my stuff through on the till next to her. I then realise that she's stood there looking at me. So I
Hang
look
on,
over at her and
So you've got a load of shopping, and your grandma's on another till just putting sweeteners through, and nothing else. Just 14 boxes of sweeteners.
just 14 things of sweeteners. So she looks at me and I can feel her looking at me, and I'm like, oh, what? What's she broken? She's always breaking things. And I look over at her and she's putting all of her sweeteners in a basket, but she's not paid yet. So she's putting these individual 14 sweeteners along with the other bits of shopping that she's got
Yeah,
in the trolley.
yeah.
So she's moved everything back to a trolley, and the machine's still saying, please put your items in the bagging area, and she's not paid. So I'm looking at her and saying, what are you doing? And she said, it says, please put your items in the bagging area. I says, yeah, you're putting them in your trolley. That is my bagging area. I was like, no, there's a bagging area there in front of you. That's not a well, does it say bagging? It had bagging area written on it. I'd like to clarify. Well, that's not a bagging area. A trolley's a bagging area. And I got to the end of it and I says, but have you even paid? No. So why have you paid everything? The guy just came up to us and went, ding, accept. Walked off. She could have stolen anything that she wanted to. And he was just like, yeah.
She's got your food because that's an act.
It totally is.
Just to get free sweeteners.
just to get 14 more packs of sweeteners.
Yeah, because she does. I'll talk about sweeteners and talk about generation gaps and language. I was at work the other day when I'm in the office. It's a big shared office and there's quite a few people around me. So I was going to go out and get some lunch.
Yeah.
I went, right, I'm off to the shop, get some lunch. Does anybody want any spice?
Right.
Yeah. And they all laughed at me. I went, what? Now where I come from, when I was growing up, spice, it's a Yorkshire word for sweets. So I said, oh, does anybody want any spice? And they were like, oh my God.
Expecting you to come back with like hard drugs.
They said, I know it's a Friday, Stu, but
Calm
calm
down.
it down.
Yeah. There's one word I actually want to bring up now that's reminded me. This is something my boyfriend said at the weekend, and my dad didn't understand it, my mum didn't understand it. I only understood it because I'd previously asked him about the word because he said it before. Now I want to know if it's a generational thing or a Yorkshire thing, because
Okay.
you have quite Yorkshire like lingo.
Yorkshire dialect, yeah.
Yeah, my mum doesn't really have loads of. Well, she does a bit, and my dad is obviously from Warwick, so he doesn't at all. Would you know what nesh means?
Yeah, it means you're like cold, right?
Yeah, neither of them knew that.
Really?
So I didn't know if it was a Yorkshire thing or a generation thing. But clearly, if you know, it's been around for ages, and they don't know what nesh means.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof.
So yeah, there you go, nesh.
Oh no! Oh, I'm Nesh. Yeah, it means you're cold.
Yeah, Dad put his jacket on and he went, oh, you're Nesh, Al. And my dad was like, am I what?
No, that's not a generational thing at all. In fact, if anything, it's quite an old word, Nesh.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I suppose that there's quite old dialect in like Wakefield and Barnsley.
Oh, there is. When
There's a
I
lot of
first
family
moved,
culture.
when I first moved to Barnsley, and I went to the local quick save, All the kids. And it's just like, all the kids were talking in old money.
Yeah, yeah. I think because it's like old mining villages and the families are all really close, so you get a lot of dialect from your grandparents. And I suppose if you live maybe in London, you don't see like grandparents as much, things like that, then maybe the dialect doesn't get passed down as much.
Yeah.
Or maybe you meet more people with different dialects, so you kind of change, as in if you're talking to people who all talk to their grandparents, you kind of all start talking like them, don't you?
Yeah. Right, let's get into what we're here to talk about, H. Because we're here to talk about the A-Team. The first thing that'll strike about the A-Team, H, again, like Knight Rider, it's got one of the most memorable and great theme tunes, TV theme tunes ever. But it's got a voiceover at the beginning. Now, this voiceover does make sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah. But I'm going to read it out. If I find out more about copyright laws, I'll see if we can play the music over it as well. In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem and nobody else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire A-Team.
Do you know, I understood that better than when I watched it.
Yeah, so that's good, isn't it?
That's good, isn't it?
One thing that gets me about that thing, you only watched a couple of episodes, right?
Yeah, I've got a lot to say about the A-Team.
Yeah, well, one of the things is, H, once you get to watch more of the A-Team, when you get to know it, what happens is that, they do their thing every week, and then they're always on the run from the military police.
Yeah.
First of all, Colonel Lynch, who's always after him. And then in the later series, it's Colonel Decker, who's always after him. And at the end of the show, he rocks up just as they're running off. And they're on the run from a crime that they did not commit. Well, they did commit it.
Oh. What?
Well, it says...
What? Right, this is worse than my Corrie explanation.
Right, it says at the beginning of that speech that they're on the run because they were convicted of a crime they did not commit.
Yeah.
But they did do the crime.
Did they?
Yeah, so the crime was that during the Vietnam War in 1972...
So this is pre the actual series happening, isn't it?
Yeah, so pre the series happened. The
so this
reason...
is the voiceover explaining what's happened previously.
Yeah, so the reason that they're on the run and from the military police is they were put in a military stockade, a military prison, for robbing the Bank of Hanoi during the Vietnam War.
Right.
But they did rob the Bank of Hanoi.
But they did do it.
Yeah, but their reasoning is they said, well, we had orders from our superior officers.
Still means you've done it.
Yes, but they still did it.
Yeah. That's like hitting somebody and saying, I didn't actually do it. They asked me to do it.
Yeah. Oh, my boss told me to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not a small thing either, is it? It's not like, oh, why did you sign off on this invoice? It's like, why did you rob the bank?
Why did you rob the Bank of Hanoi?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he told me to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always thought that was a bit of a thing.
Thing.
About the A-Team, that they actually did commit the crime. Because a big part of the final season of the A-Team is them. They actually end up in court.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it for that crime?
Well, actually, it is, but then they ended up getting executed by firing squad.
They end up getting executed?
Their commanding officer, right after he gave them the orders. So the reason that they say that... Oh, so the reason that they're on the run is because...
The A-Team?
The A-Team were on the run because they robbed the Bank of Hanoi.
Right.
But they said, it's not our fault because our commanding officer told us to rob the Bank of Hanoi.
Yeah.
It was such a secret mission that their commanding officer didn't tell anybody that he'd told the A-Team to go and rob the Bank of Hanoi. As they were robbing the Bank of Hanoi, and they got back, and they went, we've robbed the Bank of Hanoi, their commanding officer was shot and killed. And he didn't tell anybody.
So nobody knows that he actually asked them to do it.
No. So that's
terrible.
why the A-Team, when they got locked up, they went, hey, we were told to go and rob the Bank of Hanoi by our commanding officer. And everybody went, no,
Yeah,
you're in
whatever.
prison now. So anyway, they escaped and they're on the run, and now
Yeah.
the soldiers of fortune. But in the final season, they do get arrested for it, and they get put up in military court. And
Really?
yeah,
Did they win?
no, they lose. They get found guilty of actually murdering their commanding officer and robbing the Bank of Hanoi, and then they all go out and get executed by a firing squad. But
Well, so they all die at the end.
no, they are. It's a big ruse, and they all
Oh.
they get taken away in body bags, and then they have to work for some secret part of the army. It's
Right.
nuts. It's
And then that's
absolutely
the
nuts.
ending.
No, then there's another series.
Oh, no, don't confuse me even more. I've had enough. This is like FNAF, but the opposite way around.
So the A-Team are a group of ex-soldiers on the run from the
Right.
military police, and they run around the USA helping people.
Yes.
So what did you think of it, H?
I mean, I thought a lot, but also nothing at all at the same time, because it's so in your face. Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it, but there's just like in that first episode, for example, there's so much randomness and things that just don't really make much sense in my head. Or they may make sense, but they're just quite random. Like one of the A-Team's in a big crocodile suit.
Right. Let me tell you this. The A-Team, it's not randomness, because pretty much every episode has the same structure.
Right.
Hannibal, the leader.
Is in a disguise.
And this is another thing, because he's supposed to be on the run from the military police, but he's a Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
But the reason that people don't know he's a Hollywood actor is he always plays monsters.
He's always in disguise.
He's always in a monster suit.
Yeah.
So it always starts off where Hannibal's in some sort of monster suit. Or
Also, hang on, may I just add, Hannibal? Yeah. Cool name. What's his actual name? John Smith.
John Smith.
John Smith.
Yeah.
Like, really? Could you not come up with anything better than John Smith?
And actually, when people are trying to find him and hire the A-Team, he
Yeah.
often ends up in some really racist disguises.
Yeah. I was a little bit like, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that that's allowed.
I know.
Well, it's definitely not allowed.
I mean, that's not the worst thing about the A-Team. And then they always have to break Murdoch out of, because Murdoch's the only one that isn't on the run from the military police.
And he's the one who's in what they call a mental hospital.
Yes. So
Yeah.
every week they need him. So every week they have to go and break him out of the mental asylum and then put him back again at the end.
Yeah.
So that happens every week. They go, we need
Does it
Murdoch.
really? I know it happened in the episodes I watched, but I didn't.
Yep, every week they break him out and then they
Every
go put him
week.
back at the end.
Just-
Every week they have to fly somewhere and they have to drug.
I'm not being funny. They were onto him, like the police were onto this Murdoch in the first episode. Would you not tail him when he left the mental asylum every time he was escorted out?
Yeah, you think, hang on, he's off to go and muck
Yeah.
about with the A-Team. Let's just follow
Yeah.
him. Every week they have to drug BA to get him on a plane.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
they put so many drugs in him.
Yeah.
How he's still functioning at the end of the season, at the end of the shows, is nuts. They roofie him every week.
Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah.
He's just constantly just out of it. And he must miss a lot of his life if they're drugging him
Yeah.
every week.
Drugging him every week. Yeah,
Yeah.
putting stuff in his milk or
I
injecting
mean,
him with something.
There's one thing that makes me laugh about like the intro and the music is that it's repeated every time there's any kind of like combat
Oh, yeah.
to some sort of degree, but it's the introduction itself so long. It takes about 3 weeks to get through in itself.
Well, they did that a lot with the TV shows in the 80s where
Yeah.
they start off and they have like clips, they have like a trailer of the show that's going to come up. They show you clips of what's going to happen in the show.
Yeah, they show you what's already been and then they show you what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Which is like
Yeah.
reality TV nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like watching maths.
Yeah. I thought that was a modern day thing, but it's obviously not.
Yeah.
And then every week they all get locked up somewhere, and then they have to make some makeshift vehicle or weapon out of things that they find in a shed or in a barn
Yeah.
where they're locked up. I think one time they find some like big pipes, some dynamite, and some cabbages, and they make some big cabbage cannon. and
Made
shoot
some,
all the
like,
baddies
cabbage cannon.
stuff like that. Anyway, sorry, carry on. What did
But
you
yeah,
think of it?
I don't think there's a lot of people that can say that they've had a cigar in a crocodile suit and then gone and done whatever the hell the 18 do. But yeah, my initial kind of notes are that, because I thought that at the start of the episode they portray the A-team as a myth. Like, nobody knows that if they're real, they're just kind of like in the background. Nobody knows if they're alive, things like that. They're just kind of in the shadows, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is the same with kind of every series like that, like Knight Rider or any kind of hero combat type thing. You could tell they were the cool guys when they rocked up because they were wearing leather jackets.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
do you know
what?
what?
Go on.
So everybody had their favourite character out of A-Team, and when I was at school or when we were playing the A-Team around the street,
Playing the A-team.
yeah, because you'd always play the A-Team, and you'd have to pick a character to be, and then you'd play out the story that was on the telly that week. I was always Murdoch because he was the best one, and I loved his leather jacket.
Is he still your favourite now?
Yeah, but only because he's probably, well, I was going to say he's the least problematic character, but then I don't think he is.
Well, from the kind of episode I've watched, he's been decently... No, he hasn't actually. Yeah, they're all quite problematic in their own way. But yeah, no, I like Murdoch. Yeah. Do you know what? Speaking of Murdoch, when he was in the asylum and she goes... So the reporter in this episode is trying to figure out if the A-team are real at the start and who they are and how to get hold of them.
So this is Amy. So she's the reporter at the start and she needs the A-team, and then she ends up being a member of the A-team.
I kind of got that vibe that might happen.
Yeah.
But as she originally goes to see Murdoch and figure out, see if he is intertwined with the A-team, she goes into the asylum. He acts crazy, starts shaving his hair off.
Yeah.
Partially. And then he does a lot of things that stereotypically you would see in an asylum.
Well, I think the portrayal of mental health issues in the A-team was problematic.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's very like 80s stereotypical kind of, it's not real. But that's how he's behaving. And I'm not being funny. And then he says to her, "Oh, go here at this time, the A-team will meet you." You wouldn't be believing him at that point, would you?
No,
You wouldn't go, "Oh yeah,
no.
I'm going to believe you. I'm going to go there."
Oh, yeah, because especially he says to be in this alleyway behind his bar at 2 a.m.
Really early in the morning when it's dark.
Oh no! In fact, do you know what? Because it made me laugh because they said be in this alleyway behind his bar at 3 a.m. And it reminded me of me saying nothing good ever happens at 3 a.m.
Very true. Yeah. Very true. And like they even say at one point, they're like, if he says ammonia, he's going to get violent. I wish I had a word like that for people to know I want to go home and go to bed. Like if I started saying the word neon and people knew that would mean Harriet wants to go home and Harriet wants to go to bed.
So each member of the A-team had their own skills. So BA was the engineer and he could make stuff, and he was the muscle. Hannibal was the guy in charge. He could think of the plan. And that was a great line in the A-team. I love it when a plan comes together. Murdoch could fly.
Pilot,
anything. Yeah. Face, or the face man. He was the schmoozer. He was the con artist that could get them stuff.
Yeah,
and then Amy was the woman that they patronised and tried not to get involved unless they really had to.
Yeah, if they really thought she was possibly able to do what they were doing.
Yeah. Now, if you were in the A-team, H, what would your skill? What would you bring to the A-team?
I would bring great hair.
You can imagine that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
When they're all like making a cabbage cannon. Stop! We've got to stop because
I've got hair dryer and a blow dry brush. I've got to make sure this blow wave's right. Yeah, I like the bit though when they're actually on the plane and they go. And she goes, "So your pilot is insane?" And he just comes like walking through, like where all the passengers are sat, just like singing a song, and he has to drag him back to the. Is it the cockpit at the front?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I like the bit as well where they capture Hannibal, and they take him hostage, and then they proper curry slap him.
Proper what slap him?
Curry slap him.
Corrie slap it. What's
Yeah,
that?
you know, like Coronation Street.
Oh.
Like the proper like Emmerdale slap. You know what I mean? Like the proper like British soap opera slap him across
Oh.
the face.
Well, I'll tell you what I thought about the A-Team after you've finished telling me what you think about the A-Team. Or have you finished?
I think I've said all I need to say. Well, I had a look at the comments because we watched it on we bought it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I had a look at the comments, and the top comment was, "They want me to pay to watch these episodes," and then in capital letters, "Hell no!" Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! And I agree. That's kind of a summary of what I think.
I have, like Knight Rider,
Yeah.
I had lots of fond memories of the
Yeah.
A-Team. It was at the right age for me, early 80s,
Yeah.
when I was, preteen, and there was
Yeah.
lots of punching people and fighting and excitement, and it was all really good.
Yeah.
And I was fully prepared to stand here today and defend the A-Team.
Right.
But I honestly can't, H.
Yeah.
And what I think is, I think the A-Team is everything that's wrong with America right now.
Right.
And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
Now, what I've got here, H, I'm going to tell you some things about the A-Team now, and why I think it's everything that's wrong with America.
Okay.
Because afterwards, I bought some Imperial leather soap.
Right.
I'm going to cut this open and I'm going to wash my mouth out with soap and water because it's it's not something that I thought I would ever say.
Right.
Now, the A-Team, first of all, the portrayal of mental health and people with mental health issues is absolutely awful.
Yeah.
And I suspect that maintained stigma in the US and probably in the world for years longer than it should have done, with people struggling with PTSD and other mental health issues.
Yeah.
The use of guns and violence in it is not that it trivializes it, but it certainly it glorifies war
glorifies
and guns, because not only does it glorify them in terms of the overuse of guns and weapons and bombs and dynamite,
but
and
then the
grenades.
making of them as well, like you said, like if they're making them in sheds and they're making like weaponized things.
Yeah, but not only that, but nobody ever gets hurt. So nobody ever gets shot. Nobody ever gets hurt at all. And if they do, they're like, oh, they get shot in the leg and the liver, and and they got cars, following. One episode, Murdoch crashes his helicopter into a tree and then just ends up walking away from it. There's guns firing everywhere. Nobody ever gets hurt. So, of course, people are going to buy guns and go, oh, well, these are great.
Oh, well, it won't happen to me. Like, the chances are slim. Yeah, like, no.
Yeah, but I think the worst thing is its treatment of women.
Yeah, I noticed it just in the first 2 episodes, to be fair.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better. And even in some of the episodes, it's talked about and doesn't get any better. There's one episode where they have to sew some like radio mics into some baddies' jackets so that they can bug them. Listen, so they have to sew these buttons.
Don't tell me they made her sew it.
They made her sew the buttons on.
Oh, God.
And she even said, oh, well, this is great. And it made the woman do the sewing. And Face goes, well, yeah, just is what it is, isn't it?
Just is what it is.
Something like that. Something that they were like,
I get what you mean. Yeah, just like that attitude,
Just like that attitude towards women is absolutely terrible. It's portrayal of women, it's treatment of women, and everything about it. And the way that the men are, the whole machismo around it.
Yes.
How might is right. It's all about, well, if you disagree with this person or there doesn't, you just punch them.
Yeah. you just curry slap them. Held them hostage. Yeah.
These people are having some difficulties. All right, well, the best thing to do is then just go and punch a load of people and then shoot them up. What the?
and then we go and get them because they're them baddies, and then they come and then whole
There's no nuance to anything.
No backstory. No,
And then when you look at the USA now, it's like everybody's from the A-Team.
Yeah, it's all just one big A-Team episode.
Well, it is, yeah, with people with guns shooting at people if they come onto
Yeah.
their property and then just
Yeah.
punching people and the whole. Well, America itself is doing the whole might is right thing. Just because
Yeah.
you're bigger and powerful, that's it. You get to decide
Yeah.
what happens. You think,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is why the A team is everything that's wrong with America right now. So I'm afraid I'm gonna have to. Now I've said that, H. Let me cut this off.
You're not gonna do it. Can I guess this is your snack?
Well,
This is the same soap Grandma has, by the way.
what, Imperial leather?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I haven't used Imperial leather soap for years. And yeah, when Grandma used to have it in the house when I was young,
Yeah.
and I'd gone out one night and tried to get off with a girl like you did whenever you went out. She said, "Oh, you smell nice." I went, "Oh yeah." Should you use Imperial leather soap? And I went, "Yeah, it smells right nice, doesn't it?" And she went, "No, you got that little sticker stuck on your ear." So I'm gonna have to put this in there. Oh.
You're not actually doing it. I refuse to believe. You've got to show us the teeth marks on the
Actually, do you
soap.
know what? That's not.
Is it just actually a stick of butter? Isn't it? How have
It's
you done
alright,
that? How have you packaged that all up?
Well,
Very good. Very good. Now you've just got a massive mouthful of butter on you. That might even be worse than soap. That'd kill my gallbladder.
oh. H, you know what that is?
What?
That's marzipan.
Oh.
And since I made it out of marzipan, Ferdy's gone nuts for marzipan. Can you hear it? He's crying outside the door because he knows I've got marzipan in here. It's turned him into a monster.
Yeah, marzipan. That's like our dogs and shortbread. You have any kind of shortbread around them too, they just appear like.
No. Anyway. It's Burger Stews, Burger Review. It's Burger Stews, Burger Review. It's Burger Stews, Burger Review. It's Burger Stews, Burger Review.
Eating a burger, then he marks it out of 5.
He's eating a burger and he's marking it out of 5. This week, H, it's a McCunkler special.
A what?
A McCunkler special.
Right.
A festival special. Because
Oh, right. Okay. I see. The festival.
yeah, at the festival they had the burger van there,
Yeah.
and it was a Welsh burger van, and it was called Super Tidy Burgers.
Right.
Right. And they had a big cheese and bacon.
Big cheese and bacon.
Big cheese and bacon burger. So Super Tidy Burger, big cheese and bacon burger, 4.25.
Oh, wow. That good.
Yeah, do you know what? It was really good.
Or were you just that hungry?
No, it was really good.
No, it was genuinely that good.
Yeah, honestly. It was
Fab.
juicy but not greasy. Well, it was a little bit greasy but not too greasy.
Yeah, it's just the right amount of grease.
Just the right amount of grease, not too. And the bread all held together, so it
Yeah.
maintained its integrity. There was a good amount of cheese on it. Bacon was the bacon could have been better actually, but it was all right. But there was a good amount of pickles in there and stuff to lighten it up a bit and make it a bit fresher. It just, I think it maybe could have done with like a tomato in it or something, or a little bit of lettuce or something, or some maybe onion in there, something to crisp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that might have got it a little bit higher. But to be honest with you, it was pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just the kind of the right amount of everything in it.
Yeah. Just really, really balanced, really great.
I've got a very small story about food this week. So, as dear listener, I can't eat any fat. I have a non-functioning gallbladder, basically.
Oof.
And I went out for dinner, and they assured me, because I said I can't have any fat. I put it on the booking. I told the waitress, I was like, I cannot have any fat. I'm really sorry. I know it's awkward. It's the way you cook things, but if you can make stuff without putting it in oil, that'd be fab. It came and literally the mushrooms weren't even touching my plate. They were just like on a centimetre of oil.
Just swimming about in oil.
So I said to them, I was like, I think that might have oil on. And the waiter looked me in the eyes and went, I don't think it does. I was like, it's swimming. I can see it. It's like, how can you not see it glistening? It's like lip balm. It's like you've melted lip balm on my plate. So, yeah, that was fun.
Right, you ready?
Yep.
Test. Woo, woo, woo. Test. Woo, woo, woo. Question 1.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Come on then.
Question 1. Who is and I want the full name,
Yep.
the leader or the person in charge of the A team?
John Hannibal Smith.
John Hannibal Smith, yeah. 1 for 1 H. That's a good start,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That is a good start.
Who, and I want the full name, including nicknames,
No.
is the pilot in the A team.
Oh, we just said it. Mon.
One.
Oh, I'm so terrible at this. My recall's horrendous. That's one thing I've learned from this podcast is my recall is horrendous. Munkle. No, that doesn't sound right.
Munkle.
No, it's not right, is it?
No, it's HM Howling Mad Murdoch.
Murdoch.
Oh, 1 for 2 H.
Munkle. It's because I was looking at you and you're my uncle. I just merged the words.
Who was the fixer for the A team? The person that would get them stuff.
That would get them stuff.
Using... Oh, listen to this, H. He would use his Riz.
I didn't even process it as the word Riz because it came out of your mouth. I was like, Riz? Like, I'd completely felt like, what is he on about? Thought you were hinting at something in the show.
No,
Very well done. Modern lingo.
You like that? Modern lingo.
Yeah.
He uses his Riz to obtain things for the A team.
Right.
What's his full name?
Oh, I don't know his full name. I can tell you he's got a perm, though.
What, Face? He didn't have a
Face!
perm.
His name's Face!
That's not his full name. That's his thing. His full name is Templeton Arthur Faceman Peck.
Oh, so, yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Who provides the muscle to the A team?
You said it earlier, and it's like 2 letters, but I can't think what the 2 letters are.
Joe, he was played by a wrestler called Mr. T. Mr. T was proper famous, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it was massive. He was a like a wrestler, and he was in Rocky 3. He played Clubber Lang in Rocky, who was like the big opponent to Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 3. And George Peppard, who by all accounts was not a nice man, who played Hannibal, was a proper like mover star from the 50s and 60s. He was in Breakfast at Tiffany's. He was in loads of big, massive Hollywood films. Yeah. And then he started drinking, and he wasn't very nice, and he didn't get much work. So he ended up having to do he ended up having to do TV shows in the 80s. Hence why he was on the A team. But because he always thought he was like the big star of the show, The Big I Am. But everybody loved Mr. T.
Yeah.
So Mr. T ended up getting paid more than him, and so George Peppard always had the right ump with him and everybody. Yeah.
Wow.
So Mr. T played who?
I know there's a B in there. That's as much. Can I have half a point for a B?
No, it's Bosco Albert B.A. Baracus.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I understand not getting a point for B.
But what do they say that B.A. stands for? Not Bosco Albert. Bad attitude Baracus.
Yes, yeah.
And then finally, H, what snack did I eat whilst watching the A team?
Was it bar of soap? No, I'm joking. I retract that.
You're close, H.
Close with the bar of soap.
Well, yeah.
Was it butter?
No, it's marzipan. I just said I made it out of marzipan.
Oh my god!
It's like you're not even trying some minutes, H.
I was gonna go marzipan. I give up.
Right. Well, I think we're all. Do you know what? Actually, look. Do you know what pen I've been using?
Is it the lady?
I'm not going to
Whilst
turn it
talking
upside
about
down.
feminism.
Yeah, but do you know, the A-Team have a really bad portrayal of women. Ooh. Right, I think we're all done, H. Apart from what's your telly been this week?
I started watching that Genius game with David Tennant, and I don't understand it. And I think they're all just making up the fact that they understand. I don't think people understand it. I think they're all making up that they understand it because
Genius Game? What's Genius Game?
I couldn't
I don't-
tell you. And I've watched it.
You can tell me, I'm your uncle.
So, it's... I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if they're all geniuses or not. I don't really know how it works, but they're in there to get like the title of like the most clever, I suppose. And they have games each episode where they have to do something like, say there's, I don't know, one of the games they had to rob something out of. Don't look at me like that. You can't already be confused.
I'm not confused. I think I'm bored again.
Yeah, I was a bit...
No, do you know what it is? I was looking at my eyes on the camera on it because I tried to put my laptop higher so that I have to open my eyes, or else it looks like I've already got my eyes shut.
Just asleep.
It looks like I'm asleep. Yeah.
You might be after this.
So I was just looking at my own eyes on the camera.
So, Vault 1, Vault 2, Vault 3, they've got different bits of gold in it.
What?
Vault 1, Vault 2, Vault 3. I can't focus like that. I'm just going to have to do that so I can't see your face. Vault 1, Vault 2, Vault 3, they've got to steal gold out of different vaults, and there's like different quantities of gold, and then they've got to try and work out... Well, they don't actually steal it.
Oh, steal. No, I thought you meant like it was some type of steel. Like the metal.
Oh, like the metal.
Yeah,
and they
hang
have
on.
to...
They don't keep it in the Bank of Hanoi, do they?
The Bank of Hanoi. I was going to tell a joke, but I forgot the name of the bank, so it wouldn't have been very funny having to explain it. So thank you for saying that. And they had to work out who'd stolen what, and whoever'd stolen the least was up for being kicked out of the show, basically. Then at the end, there's two people who are going to be eliminated, and then they fight to not be eliminated. But it's all about their intelligence and like games
make
and
'em
strategies. Not like Corrie slap, not like A-Team fight. They just make them compete.
All right, they don't lock them in a shed and make them make a cabbage cannon.
Make a cabbage cannon, no.
What's that on? So I make sure I don't watch it. It
That-
sounds terrible.
A Genius game, and I can't remember, so you're in luck.
Right, okay, good. Well, I've been watching Reunion on iPlayer.
Reunion?
Yeah, it's really good.
What's it about?
It's about a group of crack commandos who were arrested for a crime they didn't commit in 90s. No.
But they actually did commit it.
Yeah, but they actually did commit that crime. No, it's about, do you know, it's about a guy who's just been released from prison for murder.
Right.
But it was a crime he did not commit. No, it's about the deaf community. So so the portrayal of the deaf community, and he was a deaf man that was in jail. It's just really...
I thought you said the deaf community. I was
No, deaf.
Right, yeah.
It's really eye-opening.
Right.
Because they talk about the way that he was in prison and the way that, you put people in prison.
So he actually was in prison. He was deaf and in prison for something he hadn't done.
Yeah, no, well, he did end up, he did kill this person.
So he did do it.
Yeah,
this is very A-teamy.
It wasn't an intentional murder. He got into a fight with his friend and he ended up stabbing him. And then, but it was because him and his friend had gone to this deaf school, and the head teacher of the school was like a serial abuser of the kids.
Right.
And of course that had affected his life and all the life of the other people, and they grew up and all these kind of things. So he came out of prison and he wanted to right all these wrongs. He was full of anger, and his wife had passed, and he was trying to reunite again with his daughter, who was now grown up, and all these kind of things. And it was just good.
Just good. Yeah. Just one of them series as you just watch.
I don't mean like it was just good. I mean it was just really, really well done.
I knew what you meant. Yeah, it was just one of those series as you watch and you think,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was just really, really well done.
Yeah.
Everything about it was just great, and it was kind of
It's great when you
thought-provoking,
watch
great
a
story.
series like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recommend Reunion on the iPlayer.
Reunion on the iPlayer, and we don't recommend Genius Game with David Tennant.
No.
Much love, David Tennant.
Okay, so I think we'll call that a night, H.
Yeah.
For all done. Right, how do people get in touch with us?
They can email us at mygenerationgap@gmail.com. We have a TikTok. You could always comment or message us.
TikTok.
TikTok. And then we have an Instagram. You can message us on there, My Generation Gap. Or if you know us personally, me in the salon or Stuart, his comedy gigs, then just come talk to us.
Find us, talk to us, send us a message. Right, we're all done. Right, thanks, H. Good night.
Right,
Love
thank
you.
Good night. Love you. How recorded is
Thank you for listening to My Generation Gap podcast. You can contact us by emailing mygenerationgap@gmail.com or podcast production by Stuart Vincent Moorw, music by Andy Dawson, artwork by Harriet Piliington.